Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum and I'm here today at the Rock Island Auction Company taking a look at another British .22 caliber training rifle. This is a No. 8 Mark I and it represents an interesting departure in that it is not a conversion of an existing Lee Enfield rifle. So this was developed right after World War II, and the original idea was that, and this may or may not make sense, that the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force, and the British Army were each going to have their own separate .22 caliber training rifles. The Air Force would have the No. 7, which we looked at last week. The Navy was going to have a No. 9, which was a single-shot rifle, but looked externally just like a No. 4. And the British Army would develop the No. 8, which is what we have here. Now, the 7s and 9s did get developed, and they got purchased in small numbers, but by 1950, the No. 8 had basically taken over for everybody because this was a really good rifle. Now, these were manufactured on originally actually No. 5 jungle carbine type receivers with the lightning cuts. Those cuts had been a problem in the .303 caliber carbines, but for a .22, it just didn't matter. Then the rest of the gun was built up in the pattern of a marksman's rifle, a competition rifle, instead of looking exactly like the service rifle. So that's why you'll see a heavy barrel, cut down forend here. The furniture only comes this far. And in general, just a heavy target .22, much better for accuracy than the infantry rifle styles that had been done up to this point. There's quite a lot different on this action from the previous .22s and the British service rifles. Of course, the magazine has been removed and just blocked off with a solid plate. M47C there is actually the factory code for BSA, and then this one is dated 1951. That's right towards the end of production. The stock is similarly marked M47C and 1951. We have the model designation up here on the receiver, 22, No. 8 Mark I, and the serial number D218. And then we have yet another M47C code on the receiver down there, along with a 1952 date. So this was probably assembled right at the beginning of 52, using some parts that had actually been manufactured during 51. We have a heavy barrel with a couple of really big front sight protector wings out there. This is actually 3/4 of an inch in diameter at the muzzle, and the whole gun comes to 8 pounds 14 ounces, which is not, that's not training rifle weight, that's service rifle weight. There's a third sling swivel right in the center for use with a shooting sling. And it was finally with the No. 8 rifle that the British finally got around to actually marking their training rifle rear sights with actual range adjustments. So the No. 8 rear sight had markings for 25, 50, and 100 yards, as well as this H marking right at the top, and that's kind of a cool one. The British had a landscape, sort of realistic poster-looking type of target that they used for one of their training drills. The idea being you were aiming at a portrait of a landscape with enemy soldiers hidden in it, and you'd have to shoot at that and try to actually spot and hit the various targets. Well, this actual poster was pretty sophisticated. It cost a lot of money to print, and so what they did is they actually had a target stand sort of set up where there was a secondary target located about 2 feet below the actual poster. And so what you would do is set your sight to that H, and that would give you a point of impact like 27 inches off of the actual poster. And so your hits would be recorded there, offset by a very specific, planned, calculated amount from the target. So kind of a neat setup. Until you were the guy who forgot to put his sight to that adjustment, put all the rounds through the expensive training target, and then ended up probably doing KP duty for like a month. As I mentioned, the bolt here is very similar to the No. 7 bolt, and on this one, the barrel comes way back into the receiver, like halfway through the receiver opening. And then there is a flat, just a cartridge loading ramp right there. So you drop a cartridge onto that, and then close the bolt over it, fire, extract, eject, and so on. Here's the No. 8 bolt head, very much like the No. 7, and it unscrews up at the front, where we have a spring-loaded firing pin. That firing pin, of course, comes in offset from the side for suitable use with a rimfire, and then this is struck by the modified striker inside the bolt body. We can compare the bolt to the number 7 here. This is the number 8 on top, the number 7 on bottom, and basically what they did was shorten the overall length of the thing by moving the barrel back farther into the receiver, and then the bolt head itself is further shortened. You can see the firing pin design is virtually identical, as is the bolt body, just a few changes to the geometry on the bolt head. Actually, I should say there are 2 other differences here. The number 8 bolt only has this one extractor. The number 7 bolt had an auxiliary little extractor assist spring. The number 8 doesn't have a magazine, it just has a flat loading tray, and so it's less significant. There's less problem with the cartridges, the empty cases falling out a bit early, and in any case they were basically resting on that loading tray, so the chances of them coming out of control of the extractor too early are quite slim. So this really didn't need the auxiliary extractor. In addition, the number 8 was actually redesigned slightly to be a cock-on open action instead of the standard Lee-Enfield cock-on close. Don't have data on exactly why they did that, but you can see the differences in both the strikers. Here's the number 8, here's the number 7, so definitely some changes there. And you can also see that difference in the sears. We have a standard Lee-Enfield type of sear right there for the number 7, and then the number 8 has a substantially different pattern right there, a little less travel to it. Seems like that would be suitable for a much more precise, crisp, and nice trigger pull. That's probably why they made the change. Because of the high production numbers and the surplus of some of these rifles, the British actually declared this obsolescent as of 2014, and they are replacing it with a modern .22 caliber Savage target rifle. So these actually are available on the civilian market in larger numbers than like the number 7s and the number 9s. And despite being military surplus, these are really quite good target rifles. Maybe not as good as the best on-shoots out there, but these, for the vast majority of people, these will shoot better than you can. So they make a really cool piece of military history, as well as just a really great target or plinking rifle. If you'd like more information on this one, or I believe there's actually a second one at Rock Island in this upcoming auction, you will need to take a look at their catalog. Those pages will have their pictures, description, price estimates, and so on. You can either go to their website yourself and do a search for number 8, or you can follow the link in the description text below to forgottenweapons.com, and from there you can find links to the Rock Island page for this one. Thanks for watching.